Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episode 2 of That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime. So in episode 1, isekai things happened. If you've seen an isekai, it really wasn't that special. We see a guy, normal human guy, dies, transported to magical world, where he's a slime in this case. You've seen this kind of concept before, through many variations. The isekai formula is extremely popular in Japan, so it's kind of oversaturated right now in terms of anime. And because of it, you see it all the time. And I think the real big boom with it began with Sword Art Online. I mean, there were isekai before that, but that was when it really became a big deal. But yeah, the first episode, it wasn't anything bad. It was just kind of meh. I mean, it had some good points. It had some fun humor. I did enjoy the fact that we had a tsundere dragon. That was fantastic. And not like a tsundere dragon like the kind you would get in something like Kobayashi's Dragon Maid or something like that. No, an actual, just like full-sized fantasy dragon. Just happens to be a tsundere. The way he died to be transported in this magical world wasn't anything spectacular. It's like, oh, some dude rushed him on the sidewalk, stabbed him, killed him. Whoop-de-frickin-do. The most unique thing I would say about it is the way that when he went into this world and everything, and when he was brought in through whatever this force that brought him in was, it was done in a very video game way. Like, he was being given stats and buffs and stuff, ways to keep himself from being vulnerable to certain things. And so it's like he was given the body of a slime because it was like invulnerable to pretty much everything. And he was being given these traits and stuff based on just little things he was saying. So it's kind of ridiculous in that aspect. Little things he was saying, like just saying or thinking, not even having much of any big meaning or intent. But overall, it wasn't bad. Like I said, it was okay. But I definitely think that this series is going to need to be more than okay for me to really want to continue with it. The opening doesn't instill a lot of hope for me, to be honest. The opening is really generic looking in so many ways. So it really doesn't instill a lot of hope in me that it's going to be anything special. I know a lot of people like it, but again, that also doesn't mean anything because my opinions tend to be kind of against the grain in a lot of ways. Also, I'm going to put this down a little bit. Okay, that was down a little too far. That's better. Just wanted to make it so I'm not like so far down. But yeah, my opinions are just against the grain usually. The things that I think about certain shows go against the general consensus. An example, my dislike for shows like Code Geass or Neon Genesis Evangelion, and the fact that I like shows like Akame ga Kill. But yeah, overall, I think that this series has potential, but it definitely needs to capitalize on it. We'll give it a couple more episodes to really get a feel for it, but I definitely have to, I think I want to make a decision on it fairly soon. Because as always, I really don't want to push myself through a lot of sludge to get to possible good stuff, as I always say. I don't want to have to force myself to sit through stuff that's even just kind of weak. And I'm going to make another video on this, but I do want to bring this up real quick. So I recently I had been thinking about something, about my policy about dropping things. And it's like, I was wondering, like, what did it really mean? Like, if you guys understood, especially if you really understood what my below 10% rule meant. Basically, like, as I've been saying, it's like if my interest in continuing drops below 10%, then I drop the show. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how long I've been watching it. So I've been kind of questioning these past couple days and stuff, especially since moving and getting everything set up with this new bedroom and everything. I've been wondering if I've been clear enough on, again, what I mean by that. And so I want to real quick just elaborate there. So it's like I said, if my interest in watching drops below 10%, what that means is that it's kind of like this non-literal scale of measuring things. It's like there's no like direct like way to measure if it's like literally below 10% interest, obviously. Usually it's just kind of a gut feeling for me. Basically it's like usually like when I judge a show and judge shows and rank them and stuff, I'll like rank them like, oh, this is phenomenal, this is amazing, this is great, this is good, this is meh, and so on and so forth. And that's kind of the levels I kind of go with. But at the same time, it's not quite like that for this, because with this ranking, with this scale, I can drop a show that's I'm more feeling meh towards, or even I think has a lot of positive traits, but I just don't want to continue for one reason or another. Here's an example. Fruits Basket 2019. I think it's a good show. It's a good show. It's a good remake. Why did I drop it? Well, not only because I thought it went against my rule because I'm not blind on it, but also I just felt like it wouldn't be something worthy of reacting to, and because of that, my interest in doing so pretty much dropped to nothing. And again, it's hard to equate it to a scale, but it's more like, even though I enjoyed the show, it's just like I didn't want to react to it because I felt like I was betraying my own rule, but also I felt like it wasn't something I enjoyed reacting to. And that's kind of what this reaction thing, this reaction scale percentage boils down to: enjoyment. Because enjoyment for me is paramount in anything. A game, a TV show, a movie, etc., etc., etc. If I'm not enjoying watching it, that's basically when it gets to below 10%. If I don't have any excitement when I turn it on, if I actually dread getting to that point every week, if it's something that I'm not interested in, even if it's a good show, I just don't want to react to it. I don't want to take the time to sit down, set up my laptop, my camera, everything, hit record, and have to actually put effort into reacting. Because as I've said before, it actually does take effort to do this. For someone like me, at least, someone who is extremely quiet, and when I'm watching stuff normally, I may like say a couple things here and there, but I don't actually like talk or analyze things. So it's like when I'm reacting, I have to do all of that, and honestly, it's hard for me. It takes a lot out of me. It is legitimately physically tiring to do. And I don't fully know why. I can't fully explain why, but it is. And so when I say that I'll drop a show when it reaches lower than 10%, I want to specify that that basically means that I just don't have any interest, that I'm not entertained enough by the show to react to it. And again, does not mean the show is bad. Another example, I dropped Adventure Time. Remember, I dropped Adventure Time during season 6. And that, granted, was before I had come up with this 10% rule, but the reason was pretty much the same. I lost interest in reacting to it. Not in the show itself. Granted, I admittedly have not kept up with it since, but although I do know bits and pieces about how it ends. It wasn't a lack of interest or even entertainment with the show. It's just I didn't want to react to it anymore. I dreaded reacting to it at that point. I didn't want to sit down and put forth all this effort. It's, in other words, it's not always going to be like Maggie was. If you remember back this past Monday, I dropped Maggie because I just hated it. But it's not always going to be like that. Sometimes shows I drop are just going to be because I don't want to react to them anymore. And I'm bringing all this up especially here because I want to make it clear that I'm hoping and I'm praying that slime is not like that. I want slime to break the mold and not just become another isekai. Because in general, I'll be honest, I'm not an isekai fan. I'm not a fan of the genre. There's very few isekai that actually interest me. And especially even less that actually keep my interest. Like, I can give you an example of probably my favorite, and that's ReZero. But even Sword Art Online, it's like I liked season 2, but I lost interest. And I didn't even bother with season 3. I have not watched it. I don't plan to. I haven't even seen Ordinal Scale, the movie. And I don't plan to. I mean, maybe I will at some point, but I don't really, it's not in my plans. It's not in my interest. I've lost interest. I don't care about it anymore. And again, it's not to say that it's like outright horrible. I'm not one of those people who think Sword Art Online is like this horrible, terrible anime. No. I think it definitely has its problems, but it's not terrible. I just lost interest. So yeah, I'm really hoping that Reincarnated as Slime doesn't end up being like that because, like I said, it has potential. It does some unique things. The fact that our protagonist isn't like this human character or an elf or dwarf or something like that, humanoid basically. The fact that he's a slime, or she's a slime, I guess now. I guess slimes are technically genderless, but there's a female voice, so it's whatever. I guess they, because again, slimes are technically genderless in most fantasy media. But let's just say they. The fact that they're a slime now, it's like, that's unique. That's interesting. I think no other isekai has really done that. Like even ReZero, once again, my favorite. Subaru is just Subaru. He's the exact same person. He's even wearing the same clothes. That doesn't change at all. At least Sword Art Online they're able to change that up and everything. But in here, so yeah, it presents a unique edge to it that I'm really hoping allows it to show itself as something better and something unique. But yeah. I feel like I've talked long enough about all of this. I did just want to bring all this up because, especially after having dropped Maggie, after only the first episode. I mean, already this is doing better by getting to the second. But yeah, I feel like that there's a lot of possibility in this, and I just don't want it to end up being dropped. I don't want to end up disliking it. And that goes pretty much for anything I watch, to be honest. Even if I'm not reacting to it, I don't want to dislike things, and I definitely don't want to hate them. But yeah, either way, so I'm going to give this completely a fair shot still, even though again I'm not a big fan of isekai in general. I'm still going to give it a completely fair shot and judge it purely on what it shows me, not on preconceived notions or anything. And especially because this is a donation reward. So I will tend to give donation rewards a little more lenience than other shows, just because I feel like it's a little unfair if I drop a donation reward show without giving it a little bit of extra lenience. Because again, people donated to get me to react to it. So yeah, this will be given a little extra lenience. Um, but again, if my interest still drops below 10%, I will still drop the show. But I hopefully don't think that'll happen and really don't want it to. We'll see. We'll see. Either way, let's just get this started. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll be giving spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay. So this episode was okay. I mean, just kind of like the first episode, it's like it was just kind of okay. It wasn't anything really special or extravagant. It wasn't anything like super exciting or anything. It had some good comedy. It had some good fun moments, some interesting concepts. But again, it's like just like with the first episode, it didn't do anything to really wow me. Like I said in my pre-thoughts, though, I do want to figure out really if I'm going to want to continue this show, and I want to figure that out soon. As for now, I am. I will say that right off the bat. As of now, as of currently, I will be continuing on to episode 3. I want it to really do something to really get my attention and really make me, excited to see more. Because as of now, it's just like, okay, this show's okay. I can see, I guess, why people like it. But so far, it's not, like, really my thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, we'll kind of have to see where it goes from here, I guess, at least for now. So let's talk about this. So, Rimuru, as he is now called, I'm not entirely sure what the deal with the dragon was, like Veldora. Because okay, so first they're continuing to talk and they're trying to figure out a way to get out and everything, and they give each other names. They take the same family name as each other, the same surname. And so it's Veldora Tempest and Rimuru Tempest, and so then Rimuru offers to. I thought like the plan was to get Veldora out of there by holding him in Rimuru holding him in his stomach, and then letting him out once he got out. And there was something about analyzing the seal and everything, but it's like maybe the seal still prevents him from like existing outside of the cave. So maybe the seal has to be broken before Rimuru can let him out. Maybe that's it. Because it's like Rimuru gets out after the doors are opened by these adventurers, I guess. And he's just like, oh, basically like, I'll see Rimuru sometime again. I know I will. And it's like, wait, what? You're acting like you don't know where he is or anything. And it's like, I don't know. But he comes across these goblins who show their fealty to him and ask him to help save them from these direwolves. We find out that Rimuru apparently has this massive aura that other creatures can see, I guess. But he has the ability to suck it back in, which is interesting, I guess. And yeah, so he's going to be facing off against the direwolves in the next episode. We also had some new skills learned, including a water blade and just general water manipulation, I guess. He's able to take the form of these giant monsters that he fought in the cave, as well as use their abilities. Um, and this is kind of a point, I don't remember if I really brought this up in my episode 1 thoughts, but I want to bring it up here for sure. I'm not only just not a fan of the isekai genre, I'm really not a fan of this kind of concept when the main character is overpowered. Sword Art Online was a massive example of why this doesn't work. The idea that a character just is super overpowered in this kind of instance takes away all of the just... what's the word? I hate it when my mind blanks on a word, you know? It keeps you from worrying about the character. It's like you can't worry about them if you know that they're overpowered. It takes away all of that. There's a specific word and I can't think of it for the life of me. And it sucks though. It sucks because it's like these are the kind of shows where you should have your main characters be underpowered, where they should be struggling at first. But then you have characters like Kirito, who in Sword Art Online, who because he played through the beta and all, he was just super overpowered right from the beginning, and there was really no issue. There was nothing that was really a problem for him. And now in this, it's like Rimuru is excessively OP. Having this horrifyingly huge aura, being able to take out any monster, anything pretty much instantly. Tension, that was the word I was thinking of. There's no sense of tension with this. And again, an isekai is the kind of thing you want tension in. This is why ReZero is my favorite isekai, because Subaru is terrible. He sucks. Not only just from personality, because he's kind of a dick, but also he sucks in terms of his ability. He doesn't really have any. He goes into this alternate world, basically blinks into it, and he's just a normal person. He's the same as he's ever been. He has no combat ability. He has no swordsmanship training, no magic, nothing. Now, certain things do start to come to him. He does end up gaining some abilities. He does end up training with a sword a little bit. He does show intelligence as well, to a degree. But he also loses quite a bit. I mean, the first couple episodes are basically just him dying over and over again. And there's multiple other times in the series where he dies again and again. And that's a good thing, because you never know if and when he's going to actually succeed. And you never know exactly how it's going to happen, too. Because there is that tension. Because he could die at any time. And some people would say that the idea that, oh, a character just keeps dying and dying, it takes the tension out of it, because you know they'll come back. Especially in the case of Subaru, who has the return by death thing going on, where it's like a save point, basically. But I don't think of it that way. I think it actually adds tension because, again, you never know what's actually going to happen. You never know when he's actually going to succeed, what's actually going to work. And so it's like, it actually makes you worry as to where this is going to go and how he's going to get out of things. And it makes it even more exciting when it finally does happen, when he finally does succeed. But when you have characters who are super OP, especially from the start, it takes away that tension. It takes away that just sense of concern for the character. When you don't have a concern over your main character on whether or not they're going to win or lose, when you just know they're always going to win, always going to succeed, always going to dominate even, then you lose interest in the character. They're not as interesting to you. And even with most shows, you know that in the end, the main character will come out on top. The main character will win. But even in a lot of shows, there are many cases where the main character will take a loss or struggle insanely heavily. One Piece is a great example of that. Luffy doesn't always win. I mean, one of the biggest examples, the battle at Marineford. Luffy lost. Not only did he lose, he lost his brother. And he was put into this near comatose-like state of depression because of it for a time. On Sabayati Archipelago, prior to that, he lost when Bartholomew Kuma, I always mess that up when I say it. When Kuma swiped at his friends and sent them flying to different parts of the world. Luffy does lose. In Ruby, our main characters do lose from time to time. And yes, and in all of these shows, the main characters do eventually make their way to victory. But the point is that they have their losses. They have their failures. But when you have a character like Rimuru here, there's no tension. I don't have any doubt that Rimuru is going to be able to take on pretty much anything. The only thing I could ever see like being a contest for Rimuru at this point would be another slime in the same kind of situation with the same kind of powers and whatnot, or even at least similar. I just don't see Rimuru having much of any issue. And it's concerning to me. That's my biggest concern with this. I don't want to see a main character who is just OP, basically for the sake of being OP. I just really hope that they manage to show that that's not the case, because that will drop my interest heavily. I just don't like those kind of characters. I don't like those kind of situations. Someone's shooting off fireworks, I guess. But all in all, yeah, it's just like this episode was, as it was, okay. It didn't do anything really exciting or special, but it didn't do anything really bad either. We just kind of have to see where it goes. Like I said, we will be continuing on to episode 3 for now. But like I also said, I want to determine whether or not this show is for me soon, because there are multiple things working against me. The fact that it is an isekai, the fact that Rimuru seems extremely OP. I want to make sure that I'm not just forcing myself to sit through something that's just not going to work for me. So within the next episode or two, I'll probably have figured it out for sure. And I really hope it does impress me. I really hope it does change things around, because it's like, I don't want to drop it. I don't want to drop anything. But I will if it's not my kind of show. I don't remember who exactly actually requested this. But I will say, I do apologize if I do ever drop this. And honestly, I probably would not have checked this out if it wasn't suggested. Because again, it's not my thing. I've heard people saying good things about it, and I've thought about maybe giving it a chance, but it's like every time I thought about it, it's like, nah, it's not. It's an isekai. This has pretty much been my thoughts on it. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it proves me wrong. like ReZero did. Hopefully it proves to be much better than I could have ever expected it to be. But we'll see in the future. So for now, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode, and thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,